welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we'd go over character design and how I came up with my latte bunny characters and how I also designed their human forms. And we're going to go over how I'm going to draw the human forms of my three new characters, which are Bevi, Lowe, and Ribo, and kind of talk about how I got the inspiration of how I created them in the first place. The first character I created was actually Kurimu, and he is a milk tea latte bunny. I took inspiration about having his cheeks kind of be like to represent boba balls, but then I wanted it to be kind of more of like that pinkish tone. I want to add a little bow tie since it kind of reminds me of milk tea, and kind of like these little boba balls here. And for Goragogu, he is a sweet potato bunny, and he got his ears to look like the little sweet potato, and then the inside of the sweet potato, which is yellow, would be his tail here. And Chodok, of course, is like a matcha or green tea bunny, so he has like leaf elements like on his tail, and I think in his original design I had like a leaf element inside of his ears, but I think like the simpler kind of like inside of his ears I thought was just cute. A slight update from how I originally used to draw him. And Misu is a Misukado bunny, which is kind of like a grain shake in Korea. So I added elements here where it's like kind of like a splash, and then I had little dots on his belly, and I even have like little dots on his tail sometimes to kind of represent the little grains that I had. And this one is kind of like Misukado's technically has like a mix of like black grains and like brown grains, which is why he has brown and black elements, and some of the grains are a little bit whiter, so that's kind of where I got the color scheme for Misu. And of course, Berry is a strawberry latte bunny, and hers was maybe more on the simpler side in terms of her design, but I definitely added like strawberry parts of her cheek here. And in her original design, she does have a scarf, which she does still wear occasionally because she likes to accessorize, but sometimes I found that it actually looks really cute without it, but it depends on her mood. If she wants to wear her scarf, she'll definitely wear her leaf scarf, and if not, she's kind of like this. And in terms of her original design, she had this like leaf element here on top, which I wanted to make it a joke from the other Bunns if they didn't know if that was part of her hair or if it was a hat. But the reason why she wears leaf is because she wears it on bad hair days to kind of cover up her little fluff, because her little kind of tuft of hair here tends to be a lot fluffier than the other Bunns. And if she's having a bad hair day, that's when you can find her wearing this little leaf on her head. And Soimi is a Injurmi bunny, which is kind of like similar to Kinako. Typically, she always wears like this necklace, which I made based on like the dok that has like the really bright and cute pastel color theme. So she kind of always wears that necklace, and I just added different elements here depending on the color. Like Kinako gives me like this color here. And personally, there's this other dok that has like black sesame seeds on it, which I particularly really like, so that's kind of an ode to that color scheme. So this was my most recent drawing of Hani in her human form, and she definitely gave me Sailor Moon vibes, and that's kind of where she was inspired by, especially because my brand includes a lot of like sky and star elements. I just thought it was very fitting to kind of give that reminiscent vibe of Sailor Moon. And this is her in her little bun form. Now, for the three new characters that I somewhat introduced, they're also based on latte flavors as well. So this is kind of like the three animals. So we have Lowe, who's a black sesame wolf, and we have Bevi as the Dalgona Otter, and I also have Ribo, who's a macadamia ferret. What's kind of funny is I actually wanted Ribo to be a mongoose, but no matter how I drew him, he just didn't turn as cute, and I wanted him to be as lovable, so I actually changed him to a little ferret. But I also wanted another sort of kind of derpy character, so I just thought with the ferret mask and having his eyes tilted like that, it was like perfect. And of course, Bevi actually was the first one to be created out of these three. I actually drew him as like a little sticker sheet to give out, but I ended up loving him so much that I decided for him to be a part of the lineup. And for Lowe, he's a black sesame wolf, so the way I designed him is that I had little black coloring elements and kind of kept a gray tone. Initially, I was kind of wondering if he should have a brown tone, but to kind of stick with an overall theme. But because we also have Soyme here that has like that dark color, I think it would be fine if Lowe was gray. And he also turned out a lot cuter. I think when I had him brown, he kind of looked more like a fox, if anything. And because of black sesame, I definitely wanted to add these little dots everywhere, and he has little freckles. So I do know that when I design the human form of him, he definitely will have freckles. This was actually when I first started drawing Bevi. Oh my gosh, that's another story. So I tried to draw out Lowe for the first time here, and I was trying to figure out the color scheme as like which one I would like. And I believe for Ribo, I think I kind of drew him right off the bat. And it's kind of funny, some characters that I design, I actually think of the latte flavor afterwards. And that kind of happened with Bevi, of course, and Ribo. For the black sesame wolf for Lowe, I actually thought of having a black sesame latte. I think that was what I was drinking on that day. And I was thinking like, oh, this would be really cute for a character that I could make. And I don't know what it is, but black sesame reminded me of wolves, which is why Lowe was created. I wanted to draw out personified versions of them, since I do have everybody else as like a alternate universe human type. So I am actually going to show you the process. So of course we're going to do a little bit of a Pinterest thing here. Maybe we'll do Lowe first, because I kind of have a certain vibe that I want him to be. And yes, I'm definitely thinking of something like this, but maybe a little bit shorter. I think this is a good size here. But I think what it is I'm actually thinking that maybe it should be somewhat longer, just because for Lowe's character, what I've decided him to be, because he's actually one of the main big predators within all the other characters that I have, but I want him to be like the softest and the kindest character. And I'm kind of envisioning with this that I want him to be like this kind of scary looking person, but maybe one of the Bunns like to braid his hair. So maybe we need his hair a little bit longer for that. And I think he kind of goes around with this one like braided portion of his hair while he's out, and that'd be part of his like characteristic. When I kind of look at these images, I'll kind of make a mental note of, I think his attire should be like very dark. Like he only wears tones of gray and black. Kind of just scrolling through Pinterest to see what like comes out for me. And I think I have too many of my characters in hoodies, so. And oh, you know what I think would be really nice if he had one of these like tech wear jackets. I wanted to, oh my goodness, it's like a whole thing when you're designing characters that like you find other ways of doing things better. So actually what I wanted to add a small little element to all my characters is I want to add like this little star shine detail where it's kind of like half of a star to all of my characters, just because that's kind of what I like and adds kind of an interesting element. So I'm going to try to do that here. And I'm just adding these little earrings to kind of represent the parts of the dots of his ears here. To be honest, I started with Lowe because I already had an idea of how I wanted to look, so it might not go as smoothly as for Bevi and Ribo. Oh, I have to leave room for his hair, don't I? Oh. Now we have to think of a little character design for Bevi. You know what kind of vibes give me Bevi is actually Yunsana. So let's see. And Yunsana is part of the boy group Astro. He kind of gives me that like cutesy vibe. For Ribo's design, just to mimic the mask part of the ferret, I had him wear rose-colored sunglasses to match. And then here on the left hand side, I actually took what I drew in my sketchbook into my iPad to actually finish it up digitally. Just want to clean up some of the angles, the poses, the line work, and also add a bit more color, as I actually ended up liking the composition in a way for this one. During the digital art phase, I do add a few more elements to kind of pull the character more together, as I find it easier to do so. And that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the process, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!